Another guy that might be playing in the NFL, he might be a freshman All-American this year. He's kind of taken the Oklahoma Sooners by storm. We'll discuss him coming up next year on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Make sure you follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, on YouTube. You can follow me at John9Williams and check out my work over at SoonersWire.com. Jay, we've talked about Jaden Jackson and the performance that he's had as a freshman and how he could potentially be a freshman All-American. But there's another guy that could end up being on some of these freshman All-American lists, Jay. Eli Bowen.
He has been one of the higher graded freshmen on PFF all season long since he played. And the fewest yards allowed in coverage this season. PFF put out a list. 6 guys. There are 3 of them in the SEC, and one of them is Eli Bowen. How many yards do you think he's given up this year? Best guess.
Tell the people.
People, he's given up 84 yards all season. And he's played, well, over a couple hundred snaps. So he's been basically your starting corner while at the same time out there not giving up very many yards. Now, he's not perfect, not a single one. That's why it's 84 on there. And there's moments where he's going to give up some yards. But, John, there's a good chance that Eli Bowen can end up being a freshman All-American for the Oklahoma Sooners. Him and Jaden Jackson. Could you imagine 2 guys on defense being freshman All-American?
It'd be wild, man. It'd be quite a turn of events. And I think everybody's excited about those 2 in their future. I don't think everybody expected that they would have as significant of an impact as they've had this year. And they've been really, really good, listen, they're true freshmen. They're not going to be perfect, but what they've shown this year gives me really a lot of confidence about what they can be moving forward. Jaden Jackson will be starting for you next year at nose tackle. Eli Bowen will be starting for you at one of your cornerback spots. Now, who's the other corner? That's a lot going to depend on Gentry Williams' health. It's going to depend on Jacoby Johnson's development, Makari Vickers, Jeremiah Newcomb, Malik Hawkins, what Malik Hawkins does, if he does stay, in fact, committed to Oklahoma and signing with Oklahoma. I mean, I like the cornerback group moving forward. It's just now a matter of development.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree, and that's what we need to see. But yeah, Jaden Jackson's got 297 snaps, and Eli's got 337. He's got one of the highest amount of snaps actually, I think he is the second highest. He is the second highest in snaps behind Kenai Walker as far as snaps this season, and Kenai's at 418. Eli's been up there with a grade of 81, 80 on the run, 80 on the coverage. Oh yeah, he's going to be a freshman All-American. A lot of people's going to vote him for it because not only does it do a really good job of tackling and sniffing out like screen passes and stuff, he does a good job in coverage. He stays with his man. What I need to get out of him more now is turnovers. I need to get him to get me a few more interceptions here or there. He breaks up passes, but I need some INTs. That way we can, really give him more respect. Even at his size, he can do it. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do next year. Him, Kip, right? You'll still have R. Mason Thomas. I don't know about what Robert Spears-Jennings is going to do, but there's a good chance he'll be back unless he gets a really good grade. But you get Robert Spears-Jennings with Peyton Bowen out there, and then you can start using your young safeties in the Reggie Powers and the Michael Boganowskis, as well as Jaden Hardy. You'll start to see all of those dudes rotating in a lot, and then Kendall Dobie should be back at the cheetah role.
Deshaun.
Yep, Deshaun McCullough will be back out there at linebacker with Kip and Kobe McKenzie. You've got a strong group of players that are still very, very young. That's still young enough for them to be good, because all the rest of them will start being your redshirt sophomores and redshirt juniors going forward, or juniors and seniors. Right? Kanik should be a senior next year because he's played in every game since he's been here. So he'll be technically a senior next year. And so, yeah, you're going to have a very veteran defense, and it's going to be full of players that Brent Venables wanted and needed in order to be able to build this defense. And Zach Alley's taking advantage of it.
Yeah, you've got to have some young guys that you can build around. And I think they're on their way. I mean, Kobe McKenzie, you potentially have 2 more years of him. He redshirted as a freshman.
Yep.
So you've got guys that you can build around, that you have a nice core of players. Now it's time for the offense to kind of catch up. And if we're going to play a little look ahead game here, Jay, are there players in the 2025 class that you think could come in and become freshman All-American for Oklahoma next year?
On the defensive side of the ball, man. So on the offensive side, I'm going to be honest, I can see a wide receiver trying to sneak their way in there. It depends on who on our wide receiver room that decides to really step up. But even though playing for Bill Beatonbow is really tough, I can see a Foje or Fusi finding themselves a way on the field. Knock on wood, no injuries is the cause, but this is a game of attrition. Injuries do happen. So there's a chance you may get one of them to get a little bit of PT because they're highly rated. I mean, they're both top 10, offensive tackles in the country. So you got 2 guys that are considered top 10 in their position. There's a good chance they may play. Cortez Mills. I mean, I've heard him and Elijah Thomas are the 2 wide receivers that I heard so much about coming in, especially Elijah. They consider him a freak. So many people said he's an alien. And if he goes out there and shows out, pulls like that Ryan Williams, Jeremiah Smith type stuff, that's the next one. But I think, honestly, if I'm looking at a defensive player that I think it probably could be between Malik and Tristan Hayes, because both of them have the size and the length for being explosive at corner, and they're both really fast. And I got to see if Seatbelt's going to step up and take the spot, right? If he doesn't, if Jacoby doesn't, they decide that they end up just being guys that rotate in the nickel. If Jeremiah Newcomb doesn't take the spot, yeah, there's a good chance that one of those freshmen could be the next Eli Bowen next year.
I'm going to go with one that's maybe a little out of left field. CJ Nixon.
Ooh.
Uber athletic edge rusher that is going to have a chance to earn some playing time. I know, we're high on Danny Okoye. We're high on Wyatt Gilmore. We're high on Nigel Smith. Obviously, R. Mason Thomas could be back, but you're losing Ethan Downs. You're losing
Trace Ford and
Caden Woolard. So there are going to be some edge snaps that are going to be up for grabs. And if CJ Nixon, now I don't know if he's going to be playing basketball this winter, which might delay his coming to Oklahoma. I'm not sure if he's going to be an early enrollee or not. But
that's what I'm not sure about. Yeah.
But he is such a great athlete that find a way to get him on the field in some pass rushing situations and just let him use his athleticism to go get the quarterback. Again,
true.
long shot choice, little, maybe a bold prediction choice, but we got to get bold sometimes on here. It's the bye week. What else are you going to do except get bold? Drop a guy in the comments. Who do you think could be a freshman All-American out of the 2025 class? Is it Michael Fusi or Ryan Foje? Is it somebody on the defensive side of the ball? Could it be a quarterback? Could it be a Torrey Blaylock who is just running dudes over and running away from dudes?
Oh, he's going to be so good.
There's a lot of really intriguing options.
That is very true. There's a few of them.
Excuse me. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Check his channel out, Unfair Sports. Follow me at John 9 Williams. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all of the social media platforms. But until next time, he's Jay. I'm John. We'll catch you then. Boomer.
Sooner.